Y'all really want me to talk more about Hurricane Fluttershy? Really? I am not really sure why, since I feel like I've already said all I could say about this episode, but okay, I got something to share. It's one of the few episodes I think where basically everyone can agree in regards to its quality. Season 2 is known for episodes that are more infamous like, say, The Mysterious Mare-Duo or Ponyville Confidential. And some episodes are more beloved like, say, Lesson Zero and Mystery and the Friendship Express. So where does Fluttershy's last venture of Season 2 land her? Well, join me on this day where we take a deep and decisive look into Hurricane Fluttershy. The episode starts with Rainbow Dash calling all Pegasus ponies to a meeting within Twilight's library. It's rather seamless just how it delivers an exposition where the plot is gotten across very concisely and naturally. And for whatever reason, Fluttershy is trying to hide after seeing this announcement. While taking a census, she learns that Fluttershy isn't present as she's taking the form of a tree. Okay, really Rainbow Dash? You really had to take a census to figure out that one of your best friends was not present? I mean, what else do I say? It's a reference to a one-off line from Over a Barrel. But truth be told, there's nothing to criticize here, unless I nitpick, which, trust me, this episode won't have to worry very much about. It's then shown that this old-timey video movie that was maybe probably easier to animate, that Pegasi could work together to create a tornado to pull water from the ground into Cloudsdale to fill the water needed to spread across Equestria. And it's a team effort requiring 800 wind power minimum. Why 800? I don't know, arbitrary number. The reason we're told all this? Ponyville was chosen to deliver the water to Cloudsdale. Spitfire is also going to be there to observe and record the top speed. Rainbow Dash wants to break the record of 910 wind power by aiming for 1000. Also, there's a pony coughing which sets up for a conflict later of interest in the episode. Everyone's roused and ready to give it their all, except for Fluttershy who sulks away before anyone could notice. The next day, the Pegasi are all training with Rainbow Dash overseeing their progress. She then tries to get Fluttershy to participate. Of course, she has every reason to see it through because it's the duty of her town and every Pegasus available to do their part. But Fluttershy is trying to get out of it by faking being sick and being injured, but Rainbow Dash sees right through it. First time, she douses Fluttershy with water to wash off her pony pox. The second time, she spooks her so she flies up from the ground. It just begs the question, why is she trying to get out of doing this duty for her town? Well, guess what? Rainbow Dash asks her. That's actually something I have to say I wish happened more in the show. In fact, the only other episode that immediately comes to mind where these ponies that are friends with each other ask how the other is doing and why they're not acting the way they normally should, when they're clearly not all there, is Lesson Zero. I know there are more examples, but there's also other episodes like Owls of the Intro and Family Appreciation Day that would have benefited significantly from having moments just like this. A real sisterly moment where the normally mischievous and competitive Rainbow Dash seeks to understand the problem before trying to press an issue further. And I'll be honest, I wanted to make this a negative review for April Fool's Day, but I really can't find it in me to do. This is just too important for me. Anyway, from Rainbow Dash's question, we learned that Fluttershy can't fly to help build up the tornado. Rainbow Dash knows that she can fly fast, but the difference had to do with the urgency of the situation. In the event of a rescue, she's a plenty fast enough flyer who can even keep up with Rainbow Dash. But the tornado duty, she likened it to a performance, and as previous episodes have already established, the girl suffers from stage fright. Which, with Rainbow Dash raving over wanting to break a record, not really a stretch if we're being real. Also, believe it or not, this is going to serve to be a really big problem in a future episode in Season 4. And so you know, I have a lot of bad things to say about Rainbow Falls. If that's a deal breaker for you, well, we're gonna have some fun. She then has a recollection to her past where she struggled to fly or run back at flight camp while being looked at by all sorts of Pegasi. She then was pushed up by her coach, her wings locked in terror, and she fell flat on her back on the cloud below. And we see some, teasing. As she's frantically thinking back to it, Rainbow Dash ends up trying to snap her out of it, and it starts off as abrasive, but then she realizes that she had to tone it down and Fluttershy otherwise would not respond favorably to her tough coach tone. I also just have to call attention to Fluttershy's eyes here, as Rainbow Dash is realizing what she's doing. It looked as if she was ready to panic or start crying her eyes out before Rainbow Dash changed her course. And it's that level of awareness that really helps keep Rainbow Dash from being dislikable in this episode. She wants to break the record, but she also knows she has to be careful concerning the emotions of others. Which is quite a step up from the last episode she appeared in. She reluctantly leaves Fluttershy be and proceeds to fly out, where Fluttershy then acquiesces and chooses to come by and train with the others. And while Rainbow Dash is elated, safe to say, Fluttershy felt she would regret opening herself up to this promise. We later see Twilight and Spike explaining how a machine measuring Pegasi wind power functions, and more of that coffee from Dunderlane. Rainbow Dash readily expects it to be him trying to get out of tornado duty, but it turns out to be the coughing from other Pegasi, and we'll be seeing this issue become much more severe later on. Rainbow Dash wants every Pegasus to train to at least 10.0 ring power by the end of the week, something that sets Fluttershy up to feeling inadequate later. Before long, it's her turn, and she revs up, sort of, and flies forward. Some Pegasi are giggling as she passes by, and quite frankly, it bothers her so much that by the time she makes it to Twilight and Spike, her wing power is a meager 0.5. Spike even remarks that her wing power is less than 1, and Twilight clacks him upside the head. That's what we like to see, good old disciplinary action. And then we get the Fluttershy's nervous breakdown where she starts feeling the world around her spiral and prying eyes from all over stare her down with the taunts from her childhood returning to haunt her, leaving her hyperventilating and then running with her hair covering her face. She's really not taking it very well. The music also does very heavy lifting here to express just the sadness and pain Fluttershy is burdened with as she sobs. And in response to Rainbow Dash asking her if she's going to let some stage fright from a couple of punks laughing at her stop her, she cries yes. And Rainbow Dash's face changes from dismissive to truly concerned. It only now has begun to sink in just how distressed Fluttershy feels over her own abilities and self-confidence. And she's also taking it really hard. You know that feeling when you want to say something encouraging but you can't find the words to say it? Yeah, that's basically happening here right now with Rainbow Dash. We cut to Fluttershy continuing her sobbing surrounded by her animals. Even Angel is there accompanying her. Yeah, sure, we can forget putting your hoof down. Why spoil the mood for this moment? Her animals tell her what she told them, to never give up and to believe in yourself. And she soon afterwards picks herself up off the grass and begins the process of bettering herself and proving to every other opponent that she can fly well. The montage then begins, and if I had to nitpick anything, it's how Fluttershy barely even started, and yet she's able to fight fast enough to punch a hole through a tree, but a butterfly can pull her into the mud in tug of war. Though still, that's something that's so minor in the grand scheme of things that it just doesn't even freaking matter. Like seriously, she's fighting against her own limitations to prove how great of a flyer she is when she believes in herself. And through her training, she can fly the petals off of daffodils, beat several butterflies in tug of war, even absorb her own tears before she can let herself cry. You say this is character development. She then returns to the track with newfound confidence and rushes to test her speed, and her wing power improves significantly, from a paltry 0.5 to a modest 2.3. This moment right here is fantastic. And the big reason I also feel like Fluttershy is such a great character. Yes, you can work hard and absolutely smash your old records, but she still feels inadequate. Life isn't as easy as working hard in just a single day and then overcoming whatever shortcomings you have like you never had them. It's a gradual process of learning, improving, and bettering yourself day by day. If she was able to hit something as high as like an 8.0 or something, it would diminish the importance of regularly training your body and mind and making it look easier than it actually is. Moreover, it also establishes another part of Fluttershy that we never really get to see. Her pride. She'd been going up in that tornado alongside Pegasi that can quadruple her wing power, even quintuple in the case of Rainbow Dash, but she feels like it's not enough and it would not matter in the long run. It's like being the worst player on a strong team. No one wants to feel that the little they can add won't matter, and on top of seeing how hard Fluttershy trained and just seeing how much work she had to put forward into that training, it's actively discouraging. Rainbow Dash at this point is now more concerned with Fluttershy's confidence than she is with the record being broken, seeing her long-withstanding friend's pain as more important even in spite of Spike's admittedly callous comments. Honestly, if we saw any of the main six berate him for his behavior here than went to wrap up like Twilight did here, that'd probably make the episode actually good in my opinion. Just saying. Also, we're currently about 15 minutes in, and this episode still has not given me anything to really complain about aside of nitpicking. See, there's a reason this episode is so beloved amongst the show. The day of reckoning finally arrives, with Spitfire zip-zooming out of Cloudsdale to greet her fellow Pegasi on the ground. That cop from earlier in the episode that more and more Pegasi were catching finally rears his ugly head. Several Pegasi are now out sick and unable to fly with the feather flu. Suddenly, the record being broken is no longer the problem, but it's whether or not there will even be enough wind power for a tornado to be strong enough to lift the water to Cloudsdale. Now we have tension. The Pegasi are prompted then to try and fly and start building the tornado up. Well, Biceps is also there too. Keep this and Wonderbolt's Academy in mind when we get to Season 4's Rainbow Falls. Just a suggestion. Fluttershy also figured that even if she wasn't going to be able to fly up there, she'd at least be there to offer moral support, which isn't too unlike Sonic Rainboom actually. Though as it turns out, 8 Pegasi are out sick, and the tornado didn't get a chance to get off the ground. And once again, opponent slams into a tree. And yes, Rainbow Dash somehow did not even get her body through despite being launched way faster than Fluttershy did in the beginning of her montage. Again, a nitpick, but you get the idea. Rainbow Dash is still determined to get the 800 wing power minimum even after the tornado broke apart the first time, flung the Pegasi in all directions, and Twilight's objection. But Rainbow ain't done yet, and neither are the Pegasi at Ponyville either. They get that tornado up to 795 wing power, which is their limit. I guess I should offer defense then for why Spitfire isn't doing anything despite the possibility that this tornado may fall apart a second time. So here we go. Considering that Twilight before was urging Rainbow Dash to quit before some point could get hurt, I'm certain that this implies that if a town can't provide water, it would just mean that Cloud City would have to get involved instead. But since this is an event that takes records of only ponies in the town when measuring their combined wind power, interference would invalidate their score. Not only that, but Rainbow Dash, given her pride, would like to be crushed if she had to take assistance from one of her idols when she originally wanted to demonstrate the ability of her own town to her. Yeah, this is the only real complaint I see lodging at this episode, and I don't think it's really a fair one to issue out. Anyway, Twilight urges Fluttershy to get involved and finally fulfill her duty to her town. Help pull that tornado despite how she thinks she can't make a difference in her success. Realizing the severity of the situation, she finally makes her way in and flies inside. With Fluttershy finally doing her part, the total wind power ever so slightly increased, with her 2.3 becoming closer to a 3.0, reaching 798 total. Trying to increase her top speed amidst seeing other Pegasi zoom past her though, drove her to try and keep up, but she struggled, with a relapse of her own anxiety creeping up on her. However, in a moment of pure determination, she dared to break free from her inner demons and flies faster and faster than she's ever flown before, getting the tornado to finally reach the required 800 wing power, and the water is flowing off the ground into Cloudsdale. Mission accomplished. Every pony disperses with Fluttershy still in the zone, but is soon halted, having fulfilled their part, and Rainbow Dash, recognizing that their success was only possible thanks to Fluttershy, has her hailed a hero by her fellow ponies. Yeah, I have literally nothing else to add. Fantastic episode. And honestly, you'll be hard pressed to find any real flaws with it outside of nitpicking. I legitimately struggled to come up with anything that wasn't just jeering at jokes the animators put in, and even argued against a common critique about Spitfire not helping. I guess the story at its core is pretty bare bones, but the emotional power behind this episode just makes the bare bones extremely good. It's still my favorite episode of Season 2. Not sure about the whole show though, as Season 4 has some really good episodes like Pinkie Pride and Twilight's Kingdom, but this episode is just a cut above everything else before it, except maybe Lesson 0. In fact, if I had any regrets, it's not making Lesson 0 number 2 of my favorites list in Season 2. I couldn't even spin my review to being negative for April 1st, so congratulations Hurricane Fluttershy. Turns out this episode was just too good for me to hate.